Little blind reach, but I think that's it.
Yep, that's it. You got it.
Okay.
All right, ready for the connector?
Ready.
And Nick, a small heads up, your safety tether is between your legs as well, so if you can clear that,
Yep.
I think now's a good time.
Stay firm. My legs are kind of pointed back toward the airlock. There you go.
All right, there's the connector. Give you a right for the cap.
Sure.
And Nick, if you can verify that there's no fault, good pins and good EMI band, lever over center on that connector. And after that, you'll be go to mate that AP cable to the adjacent lithium-ion battery J4.
Stay firm. And work.
Here comes your rat.
Okay, thanks. Ready. Go. Okay, good EMI band. Side, good pins. I am over center, ready to install.
You are go to install, and we see you connecting that connect cap to J4.
Okay, that connector cap is installed.
And D4's made it over center to J4.
Copy, guys. It's a good job right there. Next step for you, Anne, is to relocate your APFR to that with 14, 1-4. There's the same settings.
And tomorrow, I think I need to go retrieve those scoops.
Nick, that is correct. You can retrieve those square scoops from the battery in slot 6.
This is Mission Control Houston, 3 hours into today's spacewalk. Everything going swimmingly for Anne McClain and Nick Hague, as they have now installed 2 out of 3 adapter plates brought up on the Japanese HTV-7 cargo ship last September. Robotically earlier in the week, the robotics officer here in Mission Control, working in concert with robotics specialists at the Canadian Space Agency, moved old nickel hydrogen batteries and the 3 new lithium-ion batteries to their respective locations on the truss of the International Space Station in the Integrated Electronics Assembly.
From the bag, it's your choice at that point.
The 2 adapter plates, one of which already has been hooked up to one of the new lithium-ion batteries, which is up and running in good shape. This adapter plate, now having just been installed by Anne McClain, will receive on top of it one of the old nickel hydrogen batteries for permanent storage, and cabling will be hooked up to a second new lithium-ion battery that sits in a slot just adjacent to it. All this work continues to run ahead of schedule for the crew, which began its spacewalk at 7:01 a.m. Central Time this morning.
Copy, and we're getting a good picture. Thanks. And Nick, just to be sure, can you confirm the connector cap is connected to J4?
And took care of that install.
Okay, we copy. Thanks for double checking.
The scoops are on the adjustable attached to the crew lock bag. I'm going to move into position to install them on battery 2.
Copy, Nick. And Nick, on that battery in slot 2, the H1 scoop should point at 4 if the radiator is 12, and the H2 scoop should point straight at the radiator.
Copy that. 4 and 12.
Good read back. And Anne and Nick were 30 seconds from a 20 seconds handover.
Okay, copy that.
We're in a handover between satellites on our tracking and data relay satellite system. Just a recap, we're at the 3-hour, 6-minute mark into today's spacewalk by Anne McClain and Nick Hague, the first of 3 spacewalks to be conducted by Expedition 59 crew members outside the International Space Station over the next 17 days. This spacewalk and a second spacewalk by McClain and Christina Cook 1 week from today, designed to replace aging nickel-hydrogen batteries on the International Complex with new lithium-ion batteries that will provide more power and a longer lifetime, shelf life, if you will, for the rest of the lifetime of the International Outpost. Everything has been going extremely well with the movement of adapter plates upon which old nickel-hydrogen batteries are being permanently stored, as well as the electrical hookup of cabling between these adapter plates and the new lithium-ion batteries to provide the completion of the electrical circuit for components called a battery charge discharge unit, essentially the unit that collects energy while the International Space Station is flying in daylight. The solar arrays, of course, use that power to drive all of the station's systems. But more importantly, the battery charge discharge unit stores power for use when the station moves into a nighttime pass and there is no sunlight to power the arrays. That charge discharge unit then feeds the solar arrays stored power to continue running the station's systems on a seamless basis. This is the second of 4 sets of spacewalks that are expected to continue through next spring to replace a total of 48 old nickel hydrogen batteries with 24 new lithium-ion batteries. The first series of spacewalks occurred during Expedition 50 in January of 2017 by Thomas Pesquet, who is a spacewalk communicator today on the left of your screen, the European Space Agency astronaut who joined Peggy Whitson and Shane Kimbrough during Expedition 50 for the replacement of batteries on the starboard foretruss of the station for the 1A and 3A power channels. Today's work is on the 4A power channel. A week from today, McLean and Cook will complete the work to upgrade the 2A power channel. And then later this year, up to 4 to 6 spacewalks will be mounted by future teams of astronauts out on the P6 truss, all the way at the far port end of the backbone of the International Space Station to service the 2B and 4B power channels. More spacewalks are required for that set of battery replacements, as well as the final set of battery replacements, because the Canadarm2 robotic arm cannot reach all the way out to the far end of the station, and so the batteries have to be physically transported by the crew members during those sets of spacewalks. You see in the graphic, today we're working on the P4 truss, as we will a week from today. The S4 was completed 2 years ago, and the other battery replacement work lies ahead on the far ends of the truss, both port and starboard.
And it all looks good.
Very good.
That's awesome.
Okay,
And
I have my PGT out, ready for H2. Go ahead.
Correct. This is you're going to work on H2. Settings are alpha 7 counterclockwise 2, working on H2 on that battery.
Alpha 7 counterclockwise 2 is set, and Nick has your position.
In a good position to receive it. If you need help with H1, then I'm going to need to move. So we'll see what you can do.
Okay, I have the tape line is flush on H2, ready to drive.
That's a good check. And you're ready. You go to release H2. We expect 19 turns, 19.
19. I supposed to jump after 17 turns.
Looks detached, yeah.
I don't think it is quite. A couple more. Okay, the battery is free, and that was 19 turns there. Come on.
Copy 17 turns and a couple more. I would have you check the status indicator, but it seems obvious that the battery is unlocked. And just a reminder, this is the one you'll have to rotate by 180 degrees, so you guys make sure you're in a good config to do that.
Copy. And Nick, let me know when you're ready.
Great.
Ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go.
And there's a red swap to perform as well on this battery.
Copy.
And just, there we go. I'll do the red swap. You maintain control.
Okay.
And you can put your red on the scoop, Nick, if you want.
Scoop.
Sounds good.
And it's coming back to you.
Okay, I got it. Okay.
Okay, I've got the battery.
You have the battery.
Okay, I copy. You have your red on the scoop, Nick.
And McLean at the bottom, and Nick Hague at the top, removing another one of the old nickel hydrogen batteries from its slot in the grid on the electronic assembly at the P4 truss. That will be relocated on top of the second adapter plate that was just installed a few minutes ago by the two spacewalkers. While we watch the work that's ongoing outside of the International Space Station, some more questions being sent to us on hashtag AskNASA. Christy Wall asks, my 6th grade class wants to know how much spacesuits weigh. The U.S. extravehicular mobility units, or EMUs, the spacesuits that you see in today's spacewalk, as they have been in all U.S. spacewalks throughout the years, weigh 250 pounds apiece on Earth. Of course, they're weightless in the environment of space, but their mass is 250 pounds. Next question, why does one astronaut have red stripes around the legs and the other doesn't? That's for easy identification purposes for you watching on NASA television, as well as the flight control team here in Mission Control, and all of the engineers supporting the spacewalk in their back rooms here that are providing engineering expertise to the flight control team. Finally, for this round of questions, which ISS module are the new batteries being installed on? It's not for a particular module, it's for the space station in general. The batteries that were installed 2 years ago on the starboard truss, the batteries being installed in this series of spacewalks, and more to come on 2 additional sets of spacewalks for the far edges of the truss segments of the International Space Station, are designed to provide power for all station modules, both U.S. and actually Russian modules as well, through adapter circuitry that basically links the U.S. and Russian segments of the station, as well as the European and Japanese laboratories on the International Space Station. So it's not just one module being serviced in support of upgrades, it's the entire station itself.
Looks like it's clocking at 1, Ann.
Copy, thanks. Good twist test, full test, and we got black on black.
Copy and good pull twist test and black on black. You can ingress this APFR.
Copy.
Looks like a good right foot.
And left foot's in.
Careful coming back. Battery's right above your head.
All right.
Let's try to move it.
Okay. Leaning back.
Yeah, if you lean back, you should see a scoop in front of you.
Okay, I see it.
Okay.
You may need to go and tend the cable a little bit.
Yep, I will. Once you take control of the door, you
Okay.
orient it in the right direction.
Yep.
I'll grab
I have it oriented.
Okay, you got it.
I have the battery.
Okay. You bring it down. I'll grab this cable out of the way. Did he come towards you?
Okay.
Okay, so it's got to come forward a little bit more to line up.
And we didn't copy if you perform the red swap on that battery or not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Neck is still redded.
If you want to throw it, I'll hold it in place. If you want to throw red down. Oh, stand by. Let me get the cable. Cable's out.
Okay.
Okay. Giving you slots to be able to put it in.
And did you make sure that the ingress aid was stowed out of the way of that battery install?
I will double check that. Just a sec. I got my red on it.
Okay. You release the red on the scoop.
Yes. And the ingress aid is out of the way. There's your red.
Okay. And I'm going to come down next to you.
Okay.
And take me a second to pull up the BRT.
Once you guys verified that the AP Bravo location is clear of tethers and FOD and of the AP cable, you have a go to soft dock that battery.
Okay. And Nick, I'm going to stand by until we can, if it looks like it's running underneath it.
Yeah, it's coming back. I need to tin that.
Okay.
And then if I could use
Nice.
that's lined up. Lined up on the H2 side.
Lined up over there?
Yeah.
It's hard for me to tell because I'm kind of straight over it.
Yeah,
so if you think it's lined up.
Let me peek down.
Okay.
Oh, what you need.
Thanks.
I'm at the end of my leash, so I gotta go move my waist tether.
Okay.
Gonna pull my safety tether right through you.
Yep.
Manageable?
It's fine. How's it look?
I'm just shining some light down there. Lined up. One more angle. Looks good. Your H1 side is a little deeper in than your H2 side.
Okay, so we'll just make sure I'll bring that up a little bit before we drive. Okay, Tom, I'm ready for the words to drive the first bolt. Believe.
Okay, copy. You've soft docked that battery onto AP Bravo. Well done. With that PGT and the 6-inch wobble, Alpha 7 clockwise 2, you'll go for H2 first.
Alpha 7 clockwise to H2.
Good read back.
Okay. And the tape line on the socket is flush. I'm ready to drive. You ready?
Copy. Tape line flush on H2. You are go to drive H2, 15.5 to 17.17 turns.
Copy. Torqued out, so we're not.
I think the H1 side's a little low.
Okay, pull that up. There we go.
Emotion. Everything lining up.
Copy.
The view from Anne McLean's helmet camera as she uses a pistol grip tool to drive bolts and secure one of the old nickel hydrogen batteries to the second of 3 adapter plates that were installed earlier during today's spacewalk. Now 3 hours 26 minutes in duration. The crew's still running well ahead of the timeline and doing extremely well.
Copy, and you can move to H1, same settings, Alpha 7 clockwise 2.
The Alpha 7 clockwise 2 is set for H1.
Tape is flush.
Tape is flush. Driving.
Copy, you go to drive H1, 4 to 5.5 turns.
Copy. We got 4.8 turns, 9 torque, green light.
4.8 turns, 9 for the torque, and the green light. Those are good numbers. And can you check the status indicator on H1?
And the lock slot is over the silver line.
Copy, that's a good install. You can store your PGT back on your swing arm. Release that rod from the battery, unlock it. Next step for you, Anne, is to relocate the APFR to P4 with 14.14.
Okay, it worked.
And before you guys do that, we'll take a glove and hap check for both of you.
Work.
Okay.
And on my left index finger, I have a little bit of the RTV coming up at the base of the finger. And right hand is no change.
Copy. A little bit of RTG coming up on the base of your left index finger, and the rest is no change.
EV2, no change from the baseline on the gloves, dry hap.
Copy EV2, no change, and dry hap, and EV1 dry hap as well. Okay, so this is a good glove and hap check. Nick would like you to head over to the EP and work on the AP Charlie, and Anne, you'll stay behind for a while. And we have some steps for you to work on the batteries 1 and 5. And heads up, we're 5 minutes from night pass.
Heading back to the EP.
Okay, thanks.
This is Mission Control Houston, 3 hours, 31 minutes into today's spacewalk. A good view of Anne McClain at the P4 truss of the International Space Station. She and Nick Hague are making swift work of all of the tasks associated with the initial completion of relocation of batteries and adapter plates for the upgrade of the power system on the 4A power channel, one of 8 such power channels. 4 on the port side, 4 on the starboard side of the truss of the International Space Station that power the complex's systems. Everything continues to run ahead of the timeline today. The crew is working very efficiently, encountering virtually no problems so far. Nick Hague is going to be working on the relocation of the third of 3 adapter plates, 75-pound adapter plates that complete a electrical circuitry for the battery charge discharge unit, upon which the old nickel hydrogen batteries will be permanently stored on the station, those that are not being returned on an HTV cargo ship for disposal, and protects the thermal characteristics of the integrated electronics assembly grid that the new lithium-ion batteries are being installed in.
All right, Tama, the APFR is in WIS 14, good pull twist test. And the locking color is black on black.
Copy Ann, copy all, those are good words, good job there. And the plan for you, as we have it right now, is to go drive those H1s on slot 5 and 1 on the EP, which are towards the walls. And after we've done that, we'll go meet up with Nick later on.
Okay, sounds good.
So you can start by whichever sounds most accessible right now. And I have words for the PGT.
Okay. I'll let you know when I'm in place.
Sounds good. And Nick?
True lock bag, calibrating the PGT.
Okay, that sounds awesome. And once that is done, Nick, we can have you go drive that H1 on AP Charlie, but not H2, so only H1, and then stand by for Anne to join you.
Do that? Will do.
And I'll have some more detailed words once you get in a good position for that H1.
Hey, Tama, I'm in H1. The PGT is calibrated.
Copy, you're on
Alpha 7, counterclockwise 2.
That is correct, Alpha 7 counterclockwise 2. On H1 Charlie, you can install your hex driver and confirm one line flush.
I have one line flush.
Okay, it's a good config. You are go to release H1. We expect 8 turns.
The 8 turns didn't work.
Tama, I'm in position.
Okay, Anne, you're in position. Which slot are you at? You know?
I am at slot 5, and I'm looking at the H1 bolt.
That's correct, slot 1, so you're inboards, and the H1 with that PGT Alpha 7 clockwise 2, you'll be looking to drive 4 to 5.5 turns.
4 to 5.5 turns on H1. Copy.
And Tama, adapter plate Charlie, H1 bolt release, 6 turns.
Okay. I have Alpha 7 clockwise 2 is set.
Copy, Alpha 7 clockwise 2, you go to drive H1 on that slot 5.
Okay.
And Nick, did you get a good release on that Charlie H1?
Confirm, H1, adapter plate Charlie, release, 6 turns.
Okay, you can hold on to that PGT or let it go back to the bag, and at that point I would like you to stand by and wait for Anne to join you up on the EP.
Tama, I got 5.2 turns, 5.1 torque, green light. The status indicator moved, but the lock slot did not get all the way to the silver line.
Okay, 5.2 turns, 9.1 slot, and a good green light.
Confirm.
And that's a good install for H1. You can now translate outboard to that slot 1 for the same operation.
Okay.
Working in parallel paths, and McLean is wrapping up work to relocate and install another one of the old nickel hydrogen batteries on top of a previously installed adapter plate on the electronics grid at the P4 truss of the station, while Nick Hague is in the process of completing the release and retrieval of the third of 3 adapter plates that soon will be relocated to an empty slot on that integrated electronics assembly.
Come on the slot 1, H1. That's Alpha 7 clockwise 2 set.
Copy, and we see you in a good config, Alpha 7 clockwise 2. H1 in slot 1, you are go to drive that bolt 4 to 5.5 turns.
I'll be driving. And I drew it, but I don't think I'm just quite on the bolt. I'm going to reseat here and get a better bite on it.
Okay, Ann, sounds good. Take your time. And Nick, how are you doing up on the EP?
Doing great. It's a wonderful view.
Yeah, I'm a little bit jealous. I think everybody's a little bit jealous. So that's just too bad it's a night pass, but if we get to daylight, you'll have a fantastic view.
Nick Hague admiring the view from 248 miles above the Earth. Thomas Pesquet expressing a bit of jealousy. Of course, Pesquet was front row center seat to a similar view back on January 13th, 2017, when he joined Shane Kimbrough outside the International Space Station conducting the same type of battery replacement work as Nick Hague and Anne McClain are doing today. Pesquet from the European Space Agency today serving as the spacewalk communicator for McClain and Hague.
Hey Nick, while you're standing by, we think we can do a crew log bag 2 inventory, because you're not going to need anything from that crew log bag. You're just going to use the PGT that's on the outside. So whenever you're ready, we're ready to take the inventory in the crew log bag 2.
Okay. So I have a GoPro to a camera mount to an internal D-ring. I have the ratchet wrench.
Nick Hague reeling off some of the items for inventory at this point of the spacewalk, which is now 3 hours and 46 minutes in duration. The crew